I'll just go live right now.
Okay,
Here we
cool.
go.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, there we go. We are live. What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Hope all of you are doing well. I am DJ MOJOE. I'm here with DJ Kara.
Yes. Hi. What's up? Sorry, I'm getting the feed going. So sorry for my delay.
Yeah, so this is going to be our second time going on YouTube. I think last time we were talking about, what it was like to DJ at the during a pandemic. And today we have a topic, something that we definitely can talk about is, working as a solo DJ versus working with a DJ company. And there are definitely some differences. And, I would love to share that with you for all the DJs out there. But first of all, before we begin, I put down in the chat, who's here with us here tonight. Just put it down in the chat, your IG handle, your name, whatever, where are you from. We want to make sure that, hopefully the things that we share tonight are something valuable, something you can take home with you when you're trying to figure out your DJ career wherever you are. So put it down in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer any questions you have. The format that we're going to do is that, Karen and I we'll share our stories. We'll talk on the topic, and then maybe last like 15 minutes or so, we'll do some Q&A if you like. And then actually, Karen, I think maybe what we can reveal, like we're going to talk about the differences between working solo and working with a company. But I definitely do at the very end, I want to share what my thoughts are, but like what, my advice would be. But we can talk about.
Yes, that's
and then you can share your advice too at the end. But yeah, we'd love to talk about the differences. So put it down in the chat. Who is here with us here tonight? Love to connect with you. We're doing this for you guys, and this will definitely stay up on my YouTube channel. Hopefully this has been helpful. And I love these conversations with the fellow DJs, and just really trying to help you out. So we have DJ Dash TV. I appreciate it, man. The class is DJ. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Hope everyone's doing well this holiday season. I know Christmas is coming up, the new year, excited for 2021. And the reason why we're trying to kick things off, whether it's like business related or just DJ related, like trying to help, trying to see our goals are, and I think a good place to start with is this topic right here, working solo versus working as a with another DJ company. So yeah, and also put down in the chat. Feel free to put down some questions. Karen and I will go over we'll answer your questions as well. But thank you all so much for being here. All right, so I know we're going to try to keep this within an hour. There's a lot that we're going to talk about, but hopefully we'll stay organized and to the point. But feel free to ask any questions down below. So with that said, maybe it'll be helpful. Maybe in Karen, just maybe we can share a little bit about ourselves, like how our journey working, whether as a solo DJ or with a company.
Yeah. We can totally start there and just kind of go through our history. I'll go ahead and start. Sure. So yeah, I started DJing about, I would say 7 years ago now. And my experience actually was completely 100% starting with a company out here in Los Angeles. And so yeah, I worked, pretty much exclusively with a company starting off, and in a sense kind of grew, got my experience through them and grew with them. And I did that for about 4 years. And then after that, I branched off on my own and kind of had the whole solo DJ business, and started my own business and did that for about 2 years. And that was an amazing experience as well. And now I'm actually back with the company, but on more of the management side, more recruiting different DJs and things like that. So I definitely feel like I've had different experiences when it comes to DJ companies and being solo. So yeah, that is my experience.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Kara. And for me, I guess I've been all over the place. Started solo, and we're talking about solo. I mean, I guess your brand as a solo. I do bring people at my events, assistants to help me out, but solo meaning, yeah, just as a brand, try to run a business on your own, and where you are the main face. I've been starting that for a while now, and every now and then I'm trying to grow my I guess my network and my career, I reached out to some DJ companies who I freelance DJ for. They subcontract me out. At one point, I was an employee with a company working with them. But my journey, I've seen it all, and it's really great to just share, what it's like and see, showing the benefits and some of the pros and cons with doing both. And right now, I am working solo, and no intentions of having other DJs under me, but working solo. And just to clarify too, the whole topic is working as a solo op or working with a DJ company, not running a DJ company, but working with a DJ company. Just want to make that clear. And working with DJ company is maybe like Kara, you're you're one of the DJs for a company.
Yes, and they're basically getting the gigs, and you are fulfilling the DJ duties.
Right. So great. I'm glad we shared. And that was a little bit about the topic, but I guess what we can talk about is the okay. I think a good place to start with. Well, first, let's ask these questions really quick. People are coming with these questions. I think it's great, so that way we can really give them a kind of feel of what it's like for both. Okay. Mm-hmm. So first of all, JJP, what's up? Glad you're here. We got Jim Sargent asking, working with a company, how does it work? Do you give them a cut of the gig, or do you get direct? Do you get direct pay? Okay. So Jim Sargent, just to make clear, this is not running a DJ company where there's DJs under us, is working as a DJ for another company, just to make things clear. All right. So working with a DJ company, how does it work? Do you give them a cut of the gig, or do you get direct pay? Do you want to start off with that, Kara?
So working like as if under a DJ company, pretty much, there is, of course, with a DJ company, when you are working with them, there is a percentage that they are getting. So just be aware of that. That is something that's always going to be a part of the deal, is that they're going to get part of the money because they got the gig, they got the business. And so every company is different. And so I guess you just have to, talk with them and see if it's okay with you in terms of, the difference in terms of the money that you're going to be making. If it's okay with you, I think that's always a good thing. But with a company, you're going to have to give up a little bit of that money when it comes to the gig. So.
Yeah. And you know what? And Kara's right. It does depend on the company. Everyone has their own structure on how they deal with the pay and how, the DJ works under them. So sometimes it's percentage, sometimes it's a fixed rate. Exactly. So that way, exactly how much you're getting paid for doing a job. Mm-hmm. So hope that answers your question, Jim Sargent. I mean, we can get into detail too, if you have anything specific we want to talk about, and we can share stories, we can go on, but we want to make sure that, we're answering your questions that's important to you.
Yes.
So DJ Dash TV, this is a question for you. Do you see it, Kara?
Yeah.
And let's read the question and then.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and read it. Did you at any point start solo at all? Like friends parties, small backyards? If so, how did you join a company? Yeah, that's actually that's a great question because it is kind of like, how could I have, started with a company? So the company that I was with was kind of like an interesting company, and it was actually, they trained as well. So I was very lucky to get in with them because I don't know if there's many companies out there like this, throughout America, but this company in Los Angeles did train. And so I was a music lover. I was obsessed with music, and I really wanted to be a DJ. And so at that time, it just felt like the best opportunity for me. And I, applied and interviewed. And of course they don't, it was definitely an interview process to get in and then go through the training. But, I was able to get through and, and able to go through the training. And then of course the training was intensive, and you had to kind of show that you could do, DJ gigs. But that's how I kind of got started, was starting with the company and going through kind of a really intensive training program with this company. and then being exclusive with that company. And so that's kind of how I was able to get my foot in the door with DJing. And so, yeah, I did start right off with the company. But I do think that, that was kind of a rare experience. I think that, those companies are probably more rare. And so I think, having some sort of experience and starting off solo probably is the more common thing to do for DJs, and probably the best way to go is, trying to get those gigs right away, and learning the craft and trying to learn as much as you can on your own, or by getting DJ lessons and things like that, because my situation was I think, kind of an interesting one. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for asking that, DJ Dash. And by the way, for those people checking in, welcome. We're talking a very interesting topic. I think it's something that we really both can share a lot of information about, working as a solo DJ or versus working with a DJ company. And put it down in the chat, any questions. Right now, we're going some questions as we go along. We share stories of our journey, a little bit of like what our experience was like. And you guys are asking some great questions, so keep it up.
Yeah.
DJ Dash, like, yeah. And for me on my end, so yeah, I started on my own, working small parties, doing my own like marketing and trying to let my name go out there. But there were some points where I did reach out to a few companies just to fill up my calendar. I could only go so far with what I'm doing. I was like, I had lots of energy. Like I want to do more. So, and then maybe after a few years, once I've, I guess, build some credibility or got some work under my belt, which I could prove that I'm at least decent or good with what I'm doing, then I started working with other companies. So that's been going on. So great question. So JJ Fields, what's up? What's going on? Yes, JJP, gotcha, man. Jim Sargent, other than booking, what is the advantage? Oh, okay. So other than
are you saying what is the advantage of a company, working with a company other than booking, right? Is that the question?
I think, yeah, I think that's what it is. Like working with another DJ company, what other advantages are there besides booking? Like they give you the booking.
Yes. Do you want to answer this one? I can definitely.
I'll go briefly, and you can.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess we'll both share. So Jim Sargent, like from one of the things I could see is that you're building your network really of other DJs, and it's one of those things like it's like kind of camaraderie. It's you're not doing it alone, in a sense where your other fellow DJs are with you, and if something happens to you, you have a company that has your back. I feel like there's an extra support there, making sure that you're all taken care of for their client too. And there's more, but I want to hold myself back, and because I know we still have like 50 minutes. We have a lot that we can talk about, but I just want to share that off my chest. But Kara, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely, and that was kind of where I was going to go. Network is, so amazing to have, and I appreciated the network that I got with the company that I worked with at the beginning, especially when you're just starting. And it gives, I guess, yeah, booking. It is mainly booking, but in connections and things like that, and it's. I guess when you're first starting, booking is so important, and getting that consistent work. So booking really, mainly it is booking, but when you're first starting off, that booking is so important, because you're able to get so much out of that experience, content, that goes a long way as you're building out your brand. So I just wanted to say that, yeah, it is mainly booking and network, and that's really it. But that is really important when you're just starting. So.
Yeah. And also it like one thing's, it's really fascinating when you're actually doing these kinds of events for other companies that you wouldn't have booked anyways, just because they've already have a different clientele that you probably couldn't have reached on your own. And it's interesting, like from the times that I've worked with different companies, everyone operates differently. And it's pretty fascinating just to see how they run, what kind of gear they use, how do they do their setup, what's their process like, how do they dress, what kind of music do they play, what kind of clients do they work with, what kind of venues they work with. I don't know, like I feel like it's a great experience, super great. And the thing is, you have to take advantage of it and apply it to yourself, and just learn from every experience that you do. So I think all the times I work with another DJ company, I've been blessed with just basically all the learning experience from the techniques and all that. I remember specifically how to tape down cables with gaff tape.
Yeah.
That was something. And I was like, wow. Or a power conditioner. Like, whoa, use a power conditioner.
Yeah.
You can look that up later. All those little details. But I mean, for every experience, it's something valuable that they give. So hope that they answer your question. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. JJ Field says, I have a fixed rate for, oh, wait, did I skip one? DJ Dash.
Okay, during your start.
Yeah.
I can imagine you use, yes. So that was part of the deal as well. So because it was kind of like one of those companies where they did have, they offered the training, which was amazing, but then, they're exclusive. So that with that exclusivity, equipment definitely is something that we were able to use. So that's why it was so great for somebody that was just starting off, because a lot of times one of the toughest things for a DJ, especially mobile DJ, when you're just getting started off, is getting that equipment and getting the speakers and the wireless mic. It becomes quite expensive. So with that company, they kind of gave me the whole the setup, and this is mainly weddings that I started off doing. So they let us use the whole setup, and in exchange for there was a certain percentage that they paid us, and then also exclusivity. But it was a certain kind of exchange that they had set up that was was cool for me as a beginner. It really worked really well. So yeah.
Right. Speaking about the gear, I mean, that is something to consider about, right? Because not, especially for a beginner, carry whatever, what you said makes sense, right? Like a company, you're basically leveraging the company to use their equipment, and you just perform as a DJ. Now there's different DJ companies out there, right? Depending on how they perform and operate. So I've worked with some companies, which this is amazing. And I wish more, if you're listening out there, big companies in the area, so amazing how I just show up, everything is set up. All I bring with me is my controller, my laptop, my music, my headphones. They brought the cable, just plug it in, and I'm ready to go. And then at the end of the event, I just walk away,
It's amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
It's a great feeling.
But a lot of times with that, the exchange is, a different percentage. And so, and so that's something that you have to think about as you're starting off is, you might make less money when, you're not using your equipment. So, but as a beginner, like I said, sometimes just getting that experience and getting out there and using someone else's equipment in exchange for that lower pay could be the way to go. So, so that was kind of, more my experience for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something for working with these companies that and using their gear. I mean, if you're a gearhead like me, it's pretty cool to see. Oh, what's their ceremony setup look like? Like, whoa, they're using PVs. Like I never PVs are speakers for those people who don't know, but yeah, it's really cool. Like you're to see what everyone's doing and how they're applying it live. So that's really good.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So. Okay, next question from JJ Field. Sorry, we're just going down in order. I know there's a lot. Hey, keep it down in the chat. Once again, thank you all so much for coming. We're just talking about differences between working solo and working with a DJ company. JJ Fields, I have a fixed rate for certain DJ companies. I get more if I have to bring my own equipment. I work for around 3, but 1 main. Oh, cool. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
His main struggle is when I do my own, I have to show content and seal a deal. What are your tips for that? Okay. I don't know. It feels like that's more of a marketing or sales thing. I'm not exactly sure with that.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the company, whether you are an actual employee or just a subcontractor. I can only speak from my experience, but some of them, they just want me to take a few photos or videos to share with them. I mean, these are all for my phone, so it's nothing too professional, but maybe it's something to show that, hey, I'm actually DJing the event. Or something that maybe they could share or post on their social media. I don't know what they're using it for, but I think it's just something, hey, you know what? I'm doing my job and people are happy. Seal the deal. Maybe some companies are like that. I guess you have to make it clear about what's your role. Hey, I'm just a DJ, but then again, that's the thing that gets a bit tricky. about the companies is because, you know, we're in the industry where the entertainment is you. Like, for example, Kara, you are your own, you have your own style.
Yeah.
So it's really hard just for the company, oh, here's DJ Kara. They would have to talk to DJ Kara, and DJ Kara would have to build a connection to actually make sure that it's a right fit. And then that you get the booking to actually, like, I guess the company, depending on the client, sometimes they trust the company. Hey, here's your DJ. They're gonna be great, you know, whatever. And there's some that, hey, you know what? Some clients out there, they really want to speak to the DJ. And it's up to the DJ to actually like make sure that it's a good fit to seal the deal, right? What's your experience like that, Kara?
With having to still sell yourself within a company. I mean,
within a company. Yeah.
I mean, you said it all right. I mean, there is a level to that because, like you said, we are our own brands and we can't change who we are. And you know, the client really essentially is hiring you, even though it is through a company, it is you. And so, yeah, sometimes, you know, I've had experience. I mean, definitely with a company, you're going to get more likely, obviously, compared to being on solo, because obviously with being on your own, you have to sell yourself pretty much for every single event. So with a company, from my experience, it's, you know, definitely a lot of times where the client books me, I haven't met them ever, and I meet them at our planning meeting, and I'm like, hey, good to see you. And then I realize as we're talking, like, why they booked me. I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Like, you looked at my video or whatever, and I can tell that the people working at the company sold me in this way, and that makes sense. And so a lot of times that happens, but there are, especially with weddings, there's a lot of times when you're going to have that additional conversation. And that's, you know, I would say half the time, you know, it definitely happens often. And so, yeah. So that is something that you're going to have to be aware of if you are with a company, that you still might have to sell yourself sometimes for these events, and still, you know, have to talk with clients to get the event.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, JJ Fields. Jim Sargent, yes, great points. Very different here in Montana. Yeah, of course, man. Hey, thanks for tuning in. DJ Dash. So one thing I learned is that other DJs in the area are not competitors. They are a source for more gigs. Yeah, that's true. 70% of my gigs come from other DJs. Having network with them allows me to get their workflow or get the overflow.
That's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, good to hear that. That's a great way to network with other DJs in the area. So per rule, nothing much, man. The more equipment I bring to any event, the more I upcharge. Yeah, that sounds fair. That sounds about right.
That is fair. That's definitely fair.
You have I think DJ Dash has a question for you. Do you see that?
Okay, I'm reading it. Kara, adhering to a company's standards and the way of doing things, how do you find? Oh, okay, that's a great question. I actually really like that question. I'd say one thing to always do, because I worked with a company with definitely a particular style, but and that's okay to kind of take on that a little bit. But I think definitely try to stay your own DJ and do your own thing and let you shine as best as you can. Because if it's too different for the company and you're not really booking, I would say probably it's not the right company. But I mean, first and foremost, when it comes to DJing, from my experience with the company and without, is being yourself and playing the music that you want to play and just, doing you. And if you have a company that you're working with, it's like, hey, this is the way that we do weddings. Yeah, go with that standard, but still have your own flair to it. And that's actually a good way for you to, especially when you're with a company, if you do have your own flair to it, I think that kind of also helps you to stand out and possibly get booked more. So no matter what, when you're DJing solo or with a company, try to always stay within yourself, and just, the company is super strict. Just try your best still to show more of who you are, because that's always, in my opinion, the better way to go. What do you think about that, Joe?
Yeah, no, I mean, we all, as DJs, we all have our own style.
Yeah.
I guess like with these other companies that you work for, or just through my experience, I mean, everyone has their own way of taping cables or setting up something, like, oh, make sure you plug this in first before this. I mean, those little things, but style in terms of the way you DJ, the way you go on the microphone, I mean, that's mostly you. And I think just because before they have you DJ, I'm sure they already have an idea of your style anyway. So they wouldn't have put you to that event if your style doesn't match with, what they're expecting. I think it's more the corporate or working with other DJs, it's more of working with a DJ company. I think they're just their own style. Maybe they have their own image. Maybe I don't know. It really depends on the company. Maybe there's some limits on like what they expect from you and what you're trying to maintain, like, or maybe the style of outfit or something like that. Oh, we always wear, I don't know, a vest. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it really depends. Style means a lot, but normally I think because we're all unique, and I think that the companies out there just managing us, making sure that they're like the middle. I don't say middle. Yeah, they are the middle person connecting the client with the right talent.
Yeah.
You know, doing all the paperwork. So everyone has their own style. Their job is to connect with the right person that's the best fit for the client.
And just to mention, if you are with a company, more than likely they saw something in you that fits. So, so I don't think you should be too worried about having to change when you get on with the company, because if they choose you to be with them, that means they see something in you that's something that they would want, and they probably more than likely wouldn't want to change you too much. So
yeah. I love that point, Kara. That's really good. Yeah. Exactly right. Like, because they saw something in you, like, hey, we want you because of you, right?
Yeah.
So, but I understand. I mean, working with another company or working in general, obviously, like you're you, but then you have to like maybe follow some policies or something like that. I mean, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Great question. Yeah, that's a great question.
That was a good question.
Yeah. Oh, we got DJ Bar. What's up, DJ Bar? Hey, thanks for tuning in, man.
Hey.
I just watched your video like 10 minutes before live stream about the DDJ SR2. That's awesome, man. So let me go here I'm trying to go in order with everything. By the way, just checking in with everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Put it down in the chat, your thoughts about this, any questions for us. We're trying to keep this within an hour just to be respectful of everyone's time, really give you as much context as possible. We already shared our stories a little bit, and we're still going some pros and cons. I mean, there's a lot of things we can talk about, some differences, but ultimately we're trying to help you out in your DJ career, trying to figure out what you want to do, especially as we're moving forward to the new year. So I hope this has all been helpful so far. Going down the chat, we also have Rahul. He works at Pachanga Resort. Cool. They have the equipment. I just show up and he's so easy. Yeah, dude, that's like the best feeling ever. You feel like a rock star just showing up and just DJing. I know. Yeah, I miss those times. Oh, and a little side tip for that: if you're working solo, my tip for you is bring an assistant. You know, that's the best thing. That's been really helpful for me in terms of setting up equipment. Oh wait. Oh, Kara, you have some more questions for you, Kara. From DJ Dash. You want to read it out?
Let me see where we are. I missed our. Kara, are we okay? There we are. Kara, are you able to use footage from your company provided gigs for your own personal portfolio? So that's going to depend on your company and your deal, I think. So I think every company is different, and some companies might say, "Hey, no, we don't want you using our content or content." A lot of times if it's their content, especially. They probably wouldn't want you using it. If it's like a professional photo that they had taken of you, or, they had a photographer come in and get picked, like anything like that, or video or anything like that, I would say you shouldn't use that if it's the companies. Now, when it comes to stuff that you might take, I would just check with them still, because every company is different. And, some companies are very strict when it comes to the gigs that they give you, and you promoting that for your own. So that's just something that I think you just need to make very clear before getting with the company. And, every company typically has some sort of contract before, a gig. So you're normally pretty clear on that. You can easily ask and figure that out. So.
Yeah. That's a good point, and it depends on who's taking the picture, whether it's a company, is this like a company photo shoot company, photographer or videographer who's doing it. Like, yeah, it makes those are their footage. But whether if it's you, from my experience, I've used the footage unless they specifically tell you not to because of the clientele or the kind of event you are. Where, hey, you know what, we can't post up anything. But in most cases, in my experience, I could use the photos, post up on social media, and then I tag them. And I mean that's a win-win. And then just be respectful. Like if you got any events, just make sure that, hey, you know what, I got this booking from so and so. Reach out to them.
Exactly. Definitely, that's a great point. A lot of times that's actually probably a very common deal. But I don't, like I said, every company is very different. But a common deal I've seen is, if you get booked by a company at an event, you post a picture from your phone that you took, almost all the, you should anyway, but tag the company saying that it's their event is a big thing. And then it gives them promotion, and then also gives you promotion as a DJ with them. So yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for the asking the question, DJ Dash. Biardo, DJ Bar, the problem I've had is opportunity cost is great work for the companies because of the ease of having to sell, but you could lose a bigger payday. I definitely agree. And I could speak about this a lot because that's the whole reason why I started my own business working as a solo DJ. Just because of that reason, because when it comes to think about it, as long as you know how to manage, for a business, you have to be good with marketing. It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, but it does pay off if you're willing to put the hard work in and learn and, be good at it. So like the marketing, the sales, dealing with contracts, organization, being able to communicate to the client. Once you get that out of the way, then it's you, the DJ. Once you figure that stuff out, then you know what, you can really get the full amount. And I feel like as a business, you have more control of how much you get paid. You get control of when you work. You can control many aspects of how you want to deal with the client. And I don't know, it's more satisfying that way. For me, I have more of this connection with my clients working for myself. That's my experience. But yeah, it is opportunity cost. And I think it is a balance. Depending on what you do. But just know there is an opportunity cost and ask yourself, hey, could you afford having this opportunity cost? Like maybe it's great to work with a DJ company if you have another side job, just to supplement your income. Or maybe you don't like doing the paperwork in the business side of things. You just want to show up as DJ. Great. Maybe that's a better fit for you. But yeah, just keep in mind, if you're thinking about why am I not getting paid enough? It's because they're running the business. You're working for them. You're the talent. They got the client. They have all the business expenses that they have to take care of to keep them up and going so you can work.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So think about that. There is opportunity, pros and cons. And I'm glad we touched about that just a little bit. Great point. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I think you covered that perfectly. That's a really good point. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Cool. JJ Fields. Oh, sorry, man. I think you were replying back to what we were talking about earlier. You're talking about when you work as solo. Yep. I usually already have that gig when booked from company.
Which is a plus working with a company.
Good. Great. I really appreciate the feedback, guys. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm glad these tips and advice have been helpful. Keep it down in the chat. Yeah, keep it going with the chat. We're just going through the chat right now.
We're going through the chat. Yeah, thank you so much for commenting. Thank you all for being here. We're really excited and we're so happy to see you all watching. Thank you so much. Where do you know where we are?
Where are Rule? Okay, Bar, you're correct. I think Rule is commenting. I'm looking for questions here. Let me see. DJ Dash, glad that you're hooked on becoming a DJ, man. Happy to hear that. DJ Sazon, working with the company is great for experience with other DJs, different events, but at a certain point, you get the experience to run these different types of events yourself and get paid fully for work. Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
That is true. Yep. And here's sorry, go ahead. I think
No. I wasn't going to say anything. I was just agreeing with that statement. That's a good point for sure.
And I think that's the most common path from what we've seen is that, DJs learn and sometimes they part ways and do their own thing. Although it's common, I think there's a right way to do it. Make sure you don't burn any bridges. You do it ethically, making sure you let people know about what's going on. I think, and make sure you don't steal their clients because they worked hard. They worked hard building that relationship. So yeah, you have the experience. You take away the experience, but don't take away another company's hard work.
Exactly.
And building these clients. So great point, DJ Sazon. DJ Jesse, what's up, DJ Jesse? Let's see, DJ Dash, DJ Mojo, before you had all the content on social media to showcase your work as a starting solo DJ, how did you go about booking gigs and starting to fill out your calendar as a beginner without content? Oh, dude, I had a rough.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to go ahead and answer. Sorry.
Yeah. So as a solo, like I've always had content, bro. Like I always take pictures. Like there was not one gig where I don't take content with me. Like even especially starting out. Now it's just a matter of how to publish that content. And I mean, social media has developed over the years where a lot of people are now welcome to it. And I believe that just collecting pictures or photos or videos on your phone, like just collect something, you know? I mean, it just shows that you're actively working and shows like, okay, this person has experience. They're really trying hard to grow in this industry or career. I don't know. It's really hard to say where I got all my bookings because it's mostly word of mouth. Like I'm involved with church, I'm involved with school, I'm involved with other groups of networks of friends. And I think it's just being able to just casually say like, hey, yeah, if you need a party, like, and I wasn't ashamed of it back then because like, hey, you know what? I need to let people know what I do and what I can do. Yeah. Hey, oh, check this video out. Follow me on social media. Check this out. Or, you know, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully I wasn't that annoying back then, but I don't know. But hey, you do what you got to do, but I don't know. Maybe may have changed things differently, but definitely having content is super important. I say start now, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's I love that question because that is like an issue, I think, of, you know, where do you get that first original, you know, content when you're first starting off? And yeah, like, just like Mojo said, asking and knowing, you know, word of mouth. Hey, I'm a DJ. I really think telling every single person, and it is kind of like an annoying thing. Like I remember doing it and I did feel a little annoying, but I mean, I know that my experience was a little different, but I remember being annoying just telling everyone I was a DJ. And I think, yeah, I just think that just, you know, letting everyone know and, and just trying your best to get any sort of, and free work is always, you know, a way to kind of get the gig easily because you can literally offer it for free. And then with that, you know, get a picture and make it look like you have, you know, DJed all these different, I mean, you did DJ the gig, but you can have a picture that is so great just to kind of help you build that content out. So.
Oh, yeah. Speaking about getting pictures, Kara is so great at getting awesome pictures of her at these events. Can you share a tip, Kara? Like how do you get these cool photos of yourself? Like these people need to know, how can they get professional photos done? Or
I think it's about asking. It's about asking. It really is. I a lot of times, and I don't know if it's easier because I'm a female, which I know, but I think, you know, a lot of times I just literally like, hey, can you take a picture of me? You know, or like especially the security guard or somebody that's just because a lot of times there'll be like a security guard close by that's just standing there. So I normally will like look for that person first. And a really good tip is if you see some people kind of there, take a selfie. Just show that you're taking a selfie. Make it like obvious. And a lot of times if somebody's walking by, they'll ask if you want a photo of you. If they can they'll ask if you want one. And so he's like, oh yeah, sure. And then you get a photo. And so that's kind of like a little trick just to kind of, if there's no one else that you see there around, you just do that and, you know, see if somebody asks. I think that's something that I started doing. But I remember in the beginning, it was really hard. And I remember like, how do I get photos? and I just started those two things and it seemed to work. So awesome. Those are my solutions to that.
Yeah. And don't forget, guys, if you don't follow DJ Kara right now, I mean, we're taking like quick 15-second, just quick plug. Just follow DJ Kara. You'll see what I'm talking about. Check out her photos, and they're all really professionally done. I like them. So those are cool.
Yeah, thanks to the iPhone. A lot of, you know,
iPhone's getting better. Yeah.
Great. Just so great.
One thing I want to add to your question there, DJ Dash. One thing actually, it really came to mind. What really, really helped me out as a solo DJ is having a website. Because it's your brand. It's everything about you can put whatever you want on there, and that's the first thing that I see. All the social media networks, they go down to your one single website. And that's something super important. If, you know, that's how you can prove yourself, not only as a solo DJ, but to show other DJ companies, if you want to work with them in the future, that, hey, you are serious. This is your portfolio. This is your work. And I think that's what I had to do, really. And that's where those content goes into, is your website. Make it your brand about who you are. And then that helped me a lot. So having a website with content. Cool. All right, let's continue. And okay, quick. Yeah, we have 20 minutes left. Just really touch on here, like, hey, everybody, thank you so much for being here. For those people who are just checking in, we're really talking about a really great subject that I think both DJ Karen and I can talk a lot on, as working solo versus, or differences between working solo and working with a DJ company. And we're sharing some advantages and disadvantages to each. Hopefully we can cover a lot that you want to know, and hopefully propelling you forward in your DJ career going on to 2021. So keep up with the questions. You guys are asking some great stuff. Hey, Rule, you guys open?
I think.
He's talking to the Rule. Yeah. Not to us. Amazing point. Just probably yes, JJ Field. Did you ever get scared working solo that the other company will see you as competition and not book you as much?
Ooh, I mean, what is your take on that? That's a really interesting question, I think.
No, for me, I wasn't really scared. Like, so, okay, I don't know. This is my mentality. When I was working for these DJ companies, like, I love working with them because I learned so much, you know, but don't forget, we're running two different businesses here. Like, one is for yourself and one is for them. I mean, I don't know if you want to do both or maybe just stick to one or the other, but how I did it, and talk about being scared, I wasn't really scared. I felt more of a, like it's a good game. It's a good competition game, because for me, I wanted to prove that I could get booked without the company. Like, basically my goal was to be dependent on myself and to get business for myself, than rather depending on a company to get the work. It's kind of like working 9 to 5, not working 9 to 5 job. They're giving you security of getting a job. Hey, just show up every time here and we'll pay you this much. Right. But I wanted to, I mean, it's a friendly competition. We're like, you know what? Like, I'm so focused on growing my business. Like, I don't have time to worry about how other companies are doing. Like, I need to focus on me, where I get enough bookings. So, where I have, I guess, the stability to keep myself going. That's how I see it. So I don't get scared working solo, because I don't know, it drives me to actually do better.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
a really, I like that question, because I think, you know, it does depend on the I think it first depends on the company, but if you look at different companies, a lot of times, you know, most companies are not exclusive. So, so you're going to be able to do gigs on your own a lot of times. And a lot of times, actually, the more gigs you're getting on your own actually shows the company that how sought out after you are. And actually, it sometimes could do the other opposite. And it makes you actually look like, hey, we have this person, maybe we can see if they're available, because it seems like this person gets bookings on their own a lot and by other really awesome, you know, clients. So it's almost like it actually makes you a lot of times look better. It makes you look more desirable to the company as well, because they see that you're getting all these gigs and now they want to, you know, sell you because you're able to get these clients on your own. So that means you're doing something right. And so I think it kind of does, it actually is kind of good. It's especially, you know, depending on the company. And if the company is, you know, non-exclusive, of course. So, you know, with that non-exclusivity, what I've seen is actually sometimes it's a good thing to be very, very booked, and to be also with the company, and to kind of do both. And a lot of times that company is still trying to get you booked on their events, see if you're available.
That's great, Kara. Yeah, I love the fact that, you know what, like, it's good to that the value in the marketplace, like, hey, other people want you, and it kind of gives the company, maybe they would have to raise their pay or raise their incentives to keep you on, which is great on your end. Hey, you know what? Maybe, hey, Kara, I know we noticed that you're DJing solo. How can we work this out to the point where, you know, we just book it through us? Maybe we'll send guys to set it up for you,
Exactly.
So that way, like basically like,
yeah, you have more leverage, to be honest.
Right. So
Yeah.
talk to the company that, hey, it could be advantage to work something out. Like, hey, because once they see that other people see value, like, oh, like they're bypassing the company, going to Kara, what's an incentive for the DJ to stick with the company? And that's the company to decide, increase pay, set up crew. I think that's really interesting. No, that's great, Kara. I'm glad you brought that up. Cool. So hope that answered your question, JJ Fields. DJ Dash, this is for you, Kara.
Oh, okay. Kara, do you have any say on which gigs you take, or you just automatically deploy to the gig without getting a feel for the client's personality? So yeah, so yes, that is a really great question. And I think that's another thing that you're going to kind of have to talk with the company on. Now, yeah, a lot of times, when you are with the company, you are going to get booked on gigs, and, a lot of times clients don't they're booking the company and they don't really care about the DJ, and they match you up, and, you don't really know anything about the client, and you're at like the birthday party, like, oh, this is the gig that I'm doing. And so that will definitely happen. And like I said, it depends on the company. So if the company gets certain types of clients and you are like, I don't really want to do those DJ those kinds of events, because the typical clients that they're getting are wanting music that's completely different from what I like to play. So that could definitely happen. And if that is the case, maybe that's not the right company for you. But one thing I want to say with that is, if that does happen and you say you're with the company and it seems like, let's say it's always a different client that you're getting, and you kind of don't know what you're getting into. A lot of times and if you're a beginner, that's really good practice. That's something that I kind of did deal with, and it was okay. At the time, I was getting so much experience, and having these different clients where I didn't really know much going into it was actually great for me when I look back, because it challenged me. I was getting put on gigs where, I might not be super versed in the music that they want, but, with the requests that they're sending me and this and that, and all of, and the type of music that I'm having to, try to get into and listening to, like, I don't really know, but I think this will work. That is such good experience. Like that, I mean, for me, at least, that was amazing to kind of actually get that experience of not knowing the client too well, going into the event. And I think that's kind of more definitely a beginner thing. And as you're starting off, that's actually really good. And then, of course, as you go solo, I mean, when you are solo, you're going to get the clients that obviously are perfectly fit for you. But you're going to have 100% more of that with an agency. But that actually could be a good thing, especially for a beginner. So that's my take on that.
I got a question for me. DJ Dash asked, Mojo, what would you say is the percentage of your time budget that you spend on marketing as a solo DJ? That's a good point. Marketing includes a lot of things. Websites, so I use Squarespace, maybe $26 a month. Social media, photo editing apps, YouTube, taking video, a nice camera, kind of like this. Just good audio, get a microphone. Being able to do that. I don't know. It's really hard. That's kind of a broad question. I don't want to go too detailed about that, but it has to be some time, and maybe 1 or 2 hours a day. But maybe in the beginning, if you're starting out, you need to put a lot more effort on your website, your social media, making sure things are good. So when clients reach out to you, you're legit. And then now, once you're like all settled in, once you're established, you just have to maintain it. You don't have to work as hard anymore because you already have systems in place. So that way you can keep going without working too much at it. So it really depends. Like as a solo DJ, there is work. Don't get me wrong. It's not for everybody, but it does reward you at the end. And I love being a solo DJ, but yeah, I still have a great network of friends and other companies who I like to keep in touch with. But that's the thing. If marketing is your weak point, I guess you have a couple of ways. One, learn how to do it, which takes time and money, right? Two, you outsource it, you pay someone to do it for you, and maybe just give some kind of guidelines on how to do that. Or three, you work with another DJ company who handles it, but you have to do some degree of marketing on your end because ultimately they're going to be marketing you. Now, depending on that company is, they would have to get pictures and video and making sure you talk on the phone, on the microphone or video, so they can market you. So it's either you market yourself or someone else is going to do it for you. And if someone else does it for you, it's think about I don't know. DJ Bar brought up a good point. If you're okay with that, if them handling all the headache and don't have to deal with that, fine. But if the concept of, or the idea of that, you know what, you're losing potential money on the table because this is all something that you could have done on your own, then I would really take the time and effort to learn how to market yourself right. Because that way, long term, you can do this for a living depending on yourself. I mean, it's a business. And unfortunately, as it is, a lot of DJs, you know, I get it. We're so into craft, but how can we do more of a craft and perform for people if we don't have control of how we get booked in the market? You know, it's like a whole cycle of how it works. So, yeah. So it really depends on you, how much time and budget you have really to really focus on marketing, and look at your options, whether you're good at it, suck at it. Oh, sorry. If you're good at it, but don't like it, you know, you can outsource it. You know, or if you hate it completely and not good at it, then just have someone else do it or work with another company. But I can get into this. I'm very passionate with this kind of stuff, especially when it comes down to that. But hey, if you want to talk about it more, you know, just schedule a time with me and we can talk more about that. But that's very great. Really quick catch up too. We're gonna finish up with the chat. We have about 9 minutes. Just be respectful of everyone's time. But we really do appreciate everyone being here. This is a great discussion, going over the pros and cons. I mean, put it down in the chat. I don't know. Do you guys want us to be a part 2 or extend it maybe another 10 minutes? I don't know if DJ Care has time, but if it's something that you really want to learn more, put it down in the chat if you want us to extend. But otherwise, we're going to end it in about 9 minutes. So Jim Sargent says, when you work for a company, can you also book gigs on your own? I think DJ Care talked about it, right? Like about.
Yeah, so that depends 100%, I think, on the company. So there's companies that are exclusive that will not allow you to book on your own. And that's just a deal that they have with you. And, you know, definitely read the contract if you are with a company that is exclusive. But then a lot of companies, I would say more companies are not exclusive. However, I'm not sure about your city, but out here in LA, it seems to be that way. And so yeah. And then when that's the case, you are allowed to book gigs on your own. Of course, there is a lot of times it's off limits to book any of their clients, or, you know, try to poach gigs from them. That's like completely off limits for any company. But yeah, so it just depends on the company if it's exclusive or not. So yeah.
Good. DJ Dash. Oh yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, I appreciate all the questions. It's very helpful. It is definitely going to be up on the replay for anyone else going to watch this. So you can always refer back to it. So we have about 7 minutes. We're open up for Q&A. I mean, you guys are already doing it, but put down in the chat, you know.
Anything you want. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be on the topic.
No, it doesn't. But for sure, I think I kind of want to like ask your questions, but I think the last few minutes or so, I want to give my advice. And this is just my point of view of whether you should be.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I was like, for some reason, thought it was Q&A. That for some reason. Anyway,
no,
I forgot. We're going to do this. Let's get
JJ Fields, thanks for doing. Yep. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm glad you're working your website. It's definitely gonna help a lot. Yeah, having a website shows it does wonders. I guess you would say. There's a lot, and we can talk about this. Yeah, this is my territory, like where I love to talk about that. But JJ Fields, hit me up if you have any questions about that and building your new website. Wish you luck on that. Eric, do you charge companies additional for mileage like you would if you were solo?
Typically, companies do cover, and it does typically depend on the company again. A lot of the company stuff does depend on the company. So, but most of the time, it does cover, you know, for a certain distance. If you're driving really far, I mean, they do typically cover for that. So,
and here's the thing. I think one thing to know too, Eric, is just tip in general, know your worth. I mean, you know, just try to make sure if you feel like you're being used a little bit more or something that, hey, it doesn't sound fair, just talk to them. And I'm sure you guys work it out, because I'm sure it's in their best interest to keep you happy so they can stay with you longer, and try to figure out how you guys can solve it. So little things like that, mileage. Hey, can you please help me for mileage? It's a bit out of my town. Like, it really depends on the company, but really just bring out in your concerns and see if it's really fair for you, and see what it was worth. Like, for example, I did a New Year's Eve party for a company, and I had to basically ask for a room for the night, because no way am I going to drive home like at 4 a.m. after a wedding. So I asked for a room, and then they compensated me for a little bit for that. So just mention that. Okay, DJ Jesse, how about you run into a couple after the event has passed and remembered you from that party? Do you offer your personal services at that time?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's
a tough one. That one's just a tough one, right? I don't even know. Like, I think that would depend again on the company, and also you, and just like, yeah, I don't know. That one I think depends on what you want to do, and it depends on the company too, and what they have agreed on. Some companies are super strict about taking business, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, it is good. That's a really good question, Jesse. I mean, the best thing to do, is like, hey, just let them know I at that time I was working with another DJ company, but hey, if you want, you can follow me here or there, and maybe bring it up to the company. Hey, this couple, they were at the party from the wedding or event you gave me, and can we negotiate and maybe ask? You can probably, hey, can I have an extra bonus just because I got this gig for you? That's one way to put it. So that way it's a win-win. Just think about it as a win-win. Like, yeah, you still, you know what, technically it was a company, but yet they like me for me, right? Not because of the company, they just like me, how you performed. How can you negotiate with a company? Hey, can you give me like extra, like 100 or something as like a referral? So yeah.
I think it's just like you really don't want to be, overstepping and I don't know. When I was with the company, I just really tried to stay really, I wanted to be able to like not take business and because, I just felt like it wasn't good. And I understand that situation with it being, you did a great job and it was you and somebody there at this event saw you, but remember that you wouldn't have had that event if it wasn't for the company. Right. So you just have to remember that. And I know it's really, easy to be like, this is my gig, but just, that's a tough one because, but the thing is also the company might have some sort of agreement where that's okay. And it does depend on the company again, like very, very, very much. But just think about, I guess, like that. You wouldn't have had the gig if it wasn't for the company. And so should you take that business? Yeah. And it's kind of up to you.
Or if anything, I'm sure the company wants a cut too. Like whoever you get that, imagine that other couple gets you, maybe you can give the company a kickback or maybe like a good chunk of it or something, but it runs under you. I don't know how the policies work between your contract between you and that company. It really depends. But I think as long as you compensate that company because they're the ones who got you that original event in the first place, just try to figure out how to win-win. So that way no one's burned.
And that kickback, connection and network is so important in the DJ world. So, doing that, saying, hey, and being really open and honest and, letting the company know that it was from their event, it could actually do you better in the long run. So, because it's good networking and it just shows that you're, a good person and that you're not trying to take any gigs from them. So yeah.
Good. So just really quickly, we want to end things in a bit. We want to give our final thoughts. Let me see here. I've had people ask for personal. Yeah, it doesn't always feel right. I got that. Yeah, don't burn your bridges. Yeah. DJs always read the fine print. A buddy of mine wasn't able to DJ on his own for 2 years after signing a contract. Oh, yeah. So yeah. So all of you brought some good points. There are some pros and cons working for either yourself or working with the DJ company. I think there's other things we could talk about too. Or we can share more stories next time. Yeah. But Kara, do you have any advice? And then I could end mine too.
Yeah, sure. I can go ahead and start with this. So I know I kind of I feel like it's I mentioned everything that I'm about to say kind of throughout this entire live stream, but I think working with the company is really great for beginners. I think for somebody starting off, and again, it does depend on the company. There's all different sorts of agencies, and there's definitely agencies that are you can't really start as a beginner because they're doing different sorts of gigs. But if you are a beginner, starting off in the DJ world, I think, trying to seek out that company is just such a great way to go to get that initial experience, get those consistent gigs, get that content, get those photos, when you're with an agency and they give you professional photos. Yeah, you might not be able to, you can most likely still post it on your Instagram. You might not be able to post it on your website and have it as a part of your own personal brand, but still being able to post that on your Instagram is really good, just to show people that, hey, I'm a DJ and I'm getting gigs and I'm getting, business, even though it is with the company. It just shows that you're working and you're getting gigs and you're doing it. And also just by doing that, you're going to get so much experience and you're going to learn so much. That's just my experience. I learned just so much, like insane, like so much, because I worked with the company. And so when I did go off on my own, it was so much better because I had, so much experience. I had grinded it out with the company, and then leaving, it was like, wow, like I really know what, I'm doing when it comes to DJing and understanding different situations and understanding how to do a gig successfully. And so I, was able to get that going and be able to get the rewards of that by being able to charge a certain amount and, be able to book on my own and have clients coming to me because I built it up so much with the company. So after leaving, it was, I knew what I was doing and I was able to get clients and I had so much content. So it was actually a really a good thing for me doing it. And that's just what I would say, is that you're going to get so much experience, so much content. And so, while you are making less money, and I know that's one of the big, negatives of working with the company is not making the full pay, that the benefits, in my opinion, are really great and definitely something to look at when it comes to joining a company for sure. So, yeah.
Yeah. Great point, Kara, with joining a company and with me, very similar too, because I've learned a lot with working with these different companies just because of their experience and it's something that you can learn. These are people who have already done it. These are people who've grown in the businesses already. You're the talent, and take the opportunity to learn as much as you can, especially the experience. But I think my tip is, try it out, and see how you can network, with other DJs and see what they're doing. But be respectful, be still be a good person, and knowing that they're human too, and that just be ethical with what you do. So that's my tip. But then also at the same time, learn how to brand yourself. I think being self-reliant is also super important too, just because, you're the ultimate control of your cash flow and basically bring business to yourself. Like, imagine there is no company. You are the company. Mm-hmm. How are you supposed to get business to yourself? And it really depends on your goal. Like some, talk to the company, figure out if, they're a right fit for you, talk about their setup, their policies. Can you work with other DJs or DJ companies? Can you book your own events? The pay structure? What about if it's out of town? What's accommodate? Like, really try to work it out just to make sure that you're treated fairly working for them. And that's something I was looking out for you guys, especially, and I think it's an opportunity, especially going to 2021, working with other DJ companies could be helpful for you right now, just because they're hurting just as much as you are. And the thing is, they already have a wide network, and just let them know that you're available, show proof, show content that you're a great DJ. And then they could probably help you find some work, because that helps them keep going. And just be mindful that you probably not get as much pay, but we have our own beginnings, but then it's up to you how you want to use those little like experiences and earnings that you receive to figure out, okay, what's your next goal? Can you book events on your own? And Bar mentioned earlier about the opportunity cost, like for every event that you work for someone else, the the less you are working for yourself. So
yeah,
just think about both sides. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I just said that was a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no both sides, and there has pros and cons, but figure out your goal with it all. I've noticed, and I know we're gonna wrap things up. I know we're a little bit over 8 o'clock, but Kara, what would you say working with a DJ company is for? Like, is it for everybody, or who is it? Who do you think is the ideal candidate for working with a DJ company? From your experience.
Someone that is a newer DJ, and I know I've kind of mentioned this throughout, is, you know, someone that is, you know, maybe a little bit experienced, but, you know, isn't quite there with, you know, having the website up or having all the equipment or having done a certain amount of gigs. It's really, in my opinion, for that. And let's say that you are more experienced, you know, then it goes into someone that's just not really as interested in the paperwork, which, you know, is something, and you know the marketing and all of those kinds of things that definitely go behind having a business, you know, and you know, having the website and the expenses that you're going to have. And another thing is, you know, the team that you have behind you with the company is really, really nice. And so somebody that doesn't really want to have to do it solo, where they're on their own and having to, like, you know, look for assistance when they need an assistant, and, you know, having to literally find somebody rather than saying, hey, you know, could I get an assistant for this event? Or, you know, them sending you an assistant already, and, you know, to set up your equipment. So that's somebody that's a little bit, you know, more experienced. That's a reason why they might want to stay with the company, I would say. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was great stuff, guys. I just wanted, I know a little bit past, but I really do respect everybody's time in here. And it's so great that everyone's here. And I'm glad this was a topic that, you know, some of you had lots of questions about, whatever you are in your DJ journey, in your career. Hope this was helpful for everybody. And put it down in the chat really quickly. Hey, did you enjoy this? Let us know your thoughts. Put it down. You know, I think some people brought up some ideas, maybe what we can talk about next time when we have this live. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's stay connected.
Yeah, let us know.
You know, connect with DJ Kara. DJ Kara, it's DJ.Kara, right? On Instagram?
Yep, DJ.Kara. Yep.
DJ.Kara. Check out the YouTube description and follow her. I'm DJ MOJOE at DJ_MOJOE. Yeah, we'd love to connect with you and see how we can help each other out. Someone mentioned, you know, show a beginner's guide to setting up a website and the tools I use. I could probably do that. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I could do that. Rookie DJ versus Journey DJ. Okay. DJ Dash is asking for part 2. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff here that we could talk about.
I think we could do a part 2. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. We can talk about DJ assistants. We can talk about
assistants are, that's another thing. Yeah, for sure. Go on.
Or venue setups, or we can just share stories too. Like, it doesn't really, I mean, we're just thinking about topics and like, hey, you know what? I think this is something that they're going to love and definitely have a good discussion about. But I appreciate Jesse. Yep. I'm really glad you enjoy the content tonight. JJ Feels awesome. Well, I'm really glad to hear that, man. Everyone out there, let's stay connected. Once again, follow DJ Kara if you haven't done so already. And I know the holidays are coming up, so we may be busy, right? So let's get. We'll schedule some, but follow us on Instagram. We're gonna let you guys know. Make sure when you do get notified, or just subscribe to my YouTube channel, you get notified, and also put a reminder. But yeah, it's coming. Maybe I don't know. So far we're doing this every other Tuesday. We'll figure it out. But just keep. Yeah.
So maybe in 2 weeks, but we'll let you know. We'll definitely be posting on Instagram and all that. So
yeah. DJ Dash, gosh, he's quite this things. These are good.
Oh my gosh.
$1 million looking suits. That's funny. Floor plans and the party planners. Yeah, all right. It was a good topics. Message us, and we'll probably do it, Kara. It's like we can just put it on Instagram story. We'll put like a poll. Hey, these are some things we can. I'm gonna take a screenshot really quick of take a picture of your chat right here. I'll try to bring it up next time.
Take a picture.
Yeah, and also I'm going to take a picture of this. Hey, Carol, let's wave for the camera here. All right, so hold on a second. I'm going to take a picture with the chat. Hang on a second. All right, here we go. Hold on.
It's like watching us take a photo. It's
I know. There we go. Awesome. Oh, wait, I only got me in it. Hold on a second.
Okay.
All right, awesome. All right, cool guys. Bridezilla stories in part 2. All right, we can talk about more things, but there's definitely gonna be more. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. I'm DJ MOJOE.
DJ Kara.
Thank you all so much. Have a good night, and we'll be in touch. All right, take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome. I ended that stream.
Okay.
Cool.